Ayo Dosunmu, restricted free agent, has agreed to return to the Chicago Bulls on a 3-year, $21 million deal. And let's just clap it up. I am a big fan of Ayo Dosunmu. I have been pounding the table for the Bulls to bring him back this entire NBA 2023 free agency period. And the Chicago kid who played high school basketball at Morgan Park, played his college ball at the University of Illinois, returns to the Chicago Bulls on a 3-year, $21 million deal. The restricted free agent comes back home to Chicago. And shout out to AK, shout out to Mark Eversley, AKME, whatever you want to call them. They got it done today following the sign of Bitten, the Turkish player that we broke down earlier today. But guys, I'm going to be giving you guys my full details and reaction to this deal here in a second. Just kind of explaining what I think this means for the Chicago Bulls is they have a defensive identity and they have one of the best defensive backcourts in the NBA. But before we get into that, guys, hit that subscribe button. Who else is putting out 2 videos a day covering each and every Chicago Bulls move that is made? If you guys want more Bulls news and rumors and get them from a diehard Bulls fan like myself, I want to be your go-to channel. So if this is your first time seeing my face here on the channel, I know we ask for it a lot, but it really helps me out. Just go down there, hit that subscribe button. It's completely free, and we're just going to keep you informed with more Bulls news and rumors. But let's get into it. Ayo Dosunmu, I can't get the smile off my face right now. I am absolutely ecstatic. He is coming back on a 3-year, $21 million deal to return to the Chicago Bulls per his agent, Mike Lindemann. And I just think it's a good move. You know, we talked about Ayo a lot here on the channel. Like, we talked about his regression from year 1 to year 2, but he's still a very impactful player. And I'll start off by kind of saying my first reaction to this is the defensive identity and the defensive intensity that the Bulls are going to bring this upcoming year. I said when the Bulls signed Jevon Carter, I said if the Bulls want to, they could bring back Ayo and legit make an argument for one of the best defensive backcourts in the NBA. And now we have a crowded guard room for the Bulls. Like, you talk about Ayo, Jevon Carter, and Alex Caruso, what they're going to be able to do night in and night out to opposing teams' guards, it's going to be scary. And they're just going to ramp up that intensity every single game. And we all know, if there's one word I throw around here on the channel more than anything and to describe these types of players, dogs. Keep it simple. Ayo, dog. Jevon, dog. Alex Caruso, major dog. And they're going to be great point of attack defenders. Because we've seen it last year. When the Bulls did bring in Patrick Beverley, we saw the Bulls defense really take that step up. And they started to win a lot of games. You know, post All-Star break, the record, I believe, was 14-9. And a lot of that was contributed to what they did on the defensive side of the floor. Now, obviously, the Bulls front court, they have their liabilities. Nikola Vucevic is by no means is a good, rim protector or a good defender. But also the Bulls, if you're able to combat that by having strong point of attack defenders where they can funnel them in to a lane and just really get creative with how you want to, kind of play defensive matchups, defensive schemes. I mean, if you're going against, like, let's just say the Cleveland Cavaliers, and you could put Jevon Carter or Ayo on Darius Garland, put Caruso on Donovan Mitchell, you're sitting in that chair and you're rolling those die with those guys. Like, there are so many good guards and so many good wings now in the modern day NBA where you're going to need to defend. And we've seen what a guy like Bruce Brown, how valuable he was for a Denver Nuggets team that made the run. Defensively, I think defensive kind of minded players are kind of having a resurgence in the modern day NBA, and Ayo is that. He's got that really 6'4", 6'8" wingspan, can really get a lot of deflections on and hands on a lot of balls. But I'm a big fan of this move. I'll kind of talk about what this means about the Bulls, because kind of overall big picture heading into this next year as they are ramping up. And I really do believe the Bulls are going to be a top 6 team in the Eastern Conference here. I'm going to be breaking down why I think that in a second. But guys, grade the move of bringing back Ayo Dosunmu. Give me an A, B, C, D, or F. I'm just going to say something. I better see a whole lot of A's and maybe a few B's, but this is a good move, and I'll kind of explain to you why right now. But overall, Eastern Conference, I think the Bulls have a really strong chance to be that top 6 seed now. You add guys like Torrey Craig, Jevon Carter. Those are guys that are going to help you get better on the margins. Like, you're just going to be a little bit of a better three-point shooting team. You're going to be a little bit better defensively now with those guys. And now you bring Ayo back, another great point of attack defender. And what I mean when I say point of attack, A lot of times NBA offenses, they legitimately start at half court. Just with the shooting ability that a lot of these guards have coming out of college, most of these guys can pull up from Steph Curry, Damian Lillard type of range. So if you're able to have two guys on the court at once who can really hound people defensively, like Caruso and Carter and Ayo can, it will just help out everybody else. Because DeMar and LaVine, they got the scoring output taken care of. Like, they're going to be able to put the ball in the bucket, just get easy looks. And then obviously you add in another piece, a Patrick Williams, a 6'8", 7-foot wingspan defender. Like, the Bulls, like, I'm curious if they're going to run a lineup this year with how heavy they are in the guard spot. Like, if they could go, like, let's just say, I'm thinking off the top of my head right now, like, let's just say they go Ayo Dosunmu, Alex Caruso, DeMar and LaVine at the 3 and the 4, and then maybe a Patrick Williams at the 5. Like, could they go super small ball, but also being elite defenders? Like, yeah, Patrick Williams is not the biggest guy in the world. Maybe he could bang with, other teams like 4s in the league. Maybe if they run into, like, obviously an Embiid or a Jokic, you're not going to run this lineup at all. But just say you go against the Knicks and they run that, Julius Randle, RJ Barrett at that 4-5. Maybe the Bulls say we can put Patrick Williams at the 5, put DeMar or LaVine at the 4, but really have those hounds defensively in the Ayos, in the Javon Carters, in the Alex Carusos. I think this is an absolutely great move, and I was getting nervous because we heard the reports coming out there that the Raptors could offer him 3 for $30, and he might go there. But Ayo, I mean, I'm not saying he took a hometown discount here, but he probably did. I mean, I grew up in Chicago. Like, I played basketball growing up my whole life. And, if I ever had the opportunity to play for the Bulls and maybe I could go make a little bit more money, in Toronto, for example, I'd probably choose to come back to the Chicago Bulls, and that's what Ayo did. So shout out to him. He got paid. Just a dude that worked his ass off throughout his NBA career so far, and he's earned this contract. Like, he was so freaking good at the University of Illinois with him and Kofi Cockburn kind of being those two leading forces on those Fighting Illini teams that made runs in the NCAA tournament. Obviously, actually lost to Loyola Chicago Ayo's sophomore year, which is his last year in college basketball, but he returns home. Just a cool story, man. I mean, you play ball at Morgan Park in high school, you go to the University of Illinois, do great things there. Then your rookie year with the Bulls, you come onto the scene and everybody loves you. And now you return after 2 seasons. He's going to be here for the next 3 years. And all I have to say, I know a lot of people aren't too happy with the Bulls running it back. And they say, the Bulls need to figure out what they're doing. You know what? Whether you agree with it or not, the Bulls are trying to win some games next season. And I think they have a good chance to do that. Like, I would not be shocked at all if we're sitting here and it's All-Star break time. Let's all set the scene. It's February. The All-Star game is just around the corner. And we're voting on who's going to be the All-Stars in the NBA. I would not be shocked at all if you see Zach LaVine being an all-star starter. Because you know what? A dude who's benefited the most from this Bulls offseason and who the Bulls are kind of building around right now is Zach frickin' LaVine. Because we all know he's got his defensive, I wouldn't say inefficiencies, because we've seen it with Team USA, him being the ability to pick up 94 feet and really get his hands on guys. But just overall, like, he's not going to need to focus on the dirty and, like, dog stuff in part of the game, like diving on loose balls, like being that anchor defensively, because we had a guy like Torrey Craig. We had a guy like Ayo Dosunmu to this lineup. But the one thing Ayo needs to work on, I did want to make this point just as we are getting out of here, catch and shoot threes. Ayo, I understand, like, you want to work on all aspects of the game of basketball. But if I was his trainer and I was the Chicago Bulls, I'd be sitting there and talking to Ayo and say, catch and shoot threes this entire offseason, because that's where he's really going to take his leap and become not just a good role player in the league, but become a great role player. Kevin O'Connor compared Ayo to a Bruce Brown. Like, that's the type of build and kind of archetype he needs to kind of replicate his game around, and I think he can do it. Ayo, he's a freaking dog. I'm just happy that he's back in Chicago. So if you guys are too, give me a like on today's video, and also just hit that subscribe button. I'm also so excited for this Bulls season coming up. The Bulls are loading up. They're going to try to win a lot of games this year, and I'm excited to watch some Bulls basketball, and we're going to be bringing you guys Bulls content throughout the entire season. So I'm a diehard Bulls fan. I'm going to be putting out content for you guys all year long. If you guys want to join the family, join the Bulls Report family. We're almost closing in on 4,000 subscribers. So if you guys haven't already, lock us in. And if you made it to the end of today's video, we call this like kind of the real one roll call club here. Give me a C red down in the comments section, just so I know all the real ones that made it to the end of this video, they're going to be typing C red down in the comments section. See you guys next time. As always, go frickin' Bulls.